Hi, and welcome again to another edition of Market Analysis for today, Friday, May 9th of 2025. I'm Gio Benacourt, and this is a recording done right about an hour and 10 minutes prior to the U.S. session open for today. It is Friday, TGIF. Well, white smoke emerged yesterday from the Vatican, signaling something that has never happened before: an American Pope. But it was a less divine U.S. first on Thursday that was catching the attention of markets, the first straight agreement since President Trump's tariff announcement. The market was excited by the UK-US trade deal announced Thursday, hitting Trump's advice to investors to buy stocks now. The S&P 500 is back within touching distance of its levels before the April 2nd Liberation Day tariff reveal. On the surface, that's puzzling. The UK deal covers a relatively small amount of trade and didn't remove the 10% baseline tariff on exports to the US. That's a bad precedent. Now, considering the US has a trade surplus with Britain and might have been expected to offer generous terms, but it makes more sense if the UK deal is largely seen as a sign of willingness to strike agreements ahead of talks between American and Chinese officials this weekend. So multiple reports suggest the U.S. is aiming to bring mutual levies below 60% as soon as next week. That really would be big news. The average tariff now charged by the U.S. on its global imports is around 23, according to the ING analyst. But duties on Chinese goods make up for more than 15 percentage points of that. So a U.S.-China deal could set stocks on the way to regaining their February all-time highs. However, China has maintained a harder public line on negotiations and could be emboldened by data from Thursday showing its exports comfortably beat market expectations in April, despite a 25% drop in shipments to the U.S. as it boosted trade elsewhere. So the Vatican's conclave resulted in an unexpectedly speedy decision in favor of an American. Don't count on something similar happening this weekend. So with that being said, let's take a look at what we might be speculating for today's market fluctuation. It is Friday again, so profit taking is part of this. It did open a gap up, the Nasdaq. I'm sorry, yeah, it opened gap up, not that much though, but yet it's been closed. So fluctuations has been radical. So let's just use basically yesterday's swing high and so far today's swing high as our levels of resistance. Let's do a tight range for today. It's Friday. Today's swing low and 20,000 being a psychological round value of importance. So will we be trading sideways throughout the day, waiting for that news over the weekend? That could be the case. Look at the S&P. Also open up with a tiny gap up, being closed. So again, same exercise. Yesterday's swing high, today's swing high, today's swing low, and 5640. Psychological value. There you go. So sideways trading for the indices today, or could we see another momentum to the upside? The Dow Jones is rebounding off the 50-day moving average, so I'm going to just use yesterday's swing high. Since today we haven't touched our level, I'm going to bring up the first line of support to that 50-day moving average, and I'm going to use yesterday's swing low as our second. Crude oil making a nice move to the upside. So crude oil has yesterday broke our first level of support of resistance, and today it fluctuated to our second one. So $61, it seems to be where resistance sellers are hanging around. Perhaps this India-Pakistani ordeal is going to bring more volatility into the markets, so keep that in mind. Let's use today's swing low, so for me pre-market, as our first level of support, and then 59 or second, which I'm actually thinking that we probably will make another leg up. Let's see if the 20-day moving average, the medium in the Bollinger Bands, will act as what it does, as a dynamic level of resistance, and the market reverses from there. So all those aggressive traders could probably take a nice trade on that. Then we have Nat Gas. Yesterday, it's pretty flattish. I mean, it did swing, had a pretty wild swing. Today, they fluctuate above our level of resistance. The 50-day moving average is also right below it, so I'm gonna leave the same levels. Just actually looking to tighten up that level of support and use yesterday's swing low. So let's see if today Nat Gas, I'm speculating that Nat Gas is going to be just also just sideways trading. So gold seems to be catching a bid here after all this news coming out of India. They're not new, but I mean, are we just having another war going on? This is sad. So I'm gonna use today's swing low and bring down. I'm gonna use 32.40 actually. Again, it's the weekend, so most traders don't like leaving trades open over the weekend. So let's see what's gonna happen. Then we have silver. So silver is looking mighty strong. However, it did open gap down. It has been closed, obviously. Let's see if the 20-day moving average medium will do its job. I'm actually gonna leave those levels as is. So the wicks have created like a double bottom, so I'm gonna use that, and then the lower Bollinger Band. Dollar index has made a nice move to the upside, so putting pressure on metals, and we see that in copper. So it had a wide swing here. So I'm gonna just tighten up first level of resistance to today's swing high, first level of support to today's swing low, and then 435 as our second. So again, within range of today, will it stay there? So Bitcoin has all again bolstered towards 100,000 plus. So 104 change. Well, actually, let's do more because this guy moves by 1,000. So 105 first level, and then 107 second level. Support. I'm gonna use 101.5 around there, and then 100,000 psychological. Let's see if it makes another jump, another parabolic movement as yesterday. We were caught. That was doing well. Euro is tanking. Dollar index is catching a bid, strong bid, I say. So I'm gonna leave the same level of support for the euro. It did rebound off of it. 113 first level of resistance, and the 20-day moving average second. But let's see what will happen today. The pound within yesterday's range, 20-day moving average above the market, acting as a dynamic resistance. Tying up our levels, lower Bollinger Band, and the 50 moving average. As far as resistance goes, 133.5, and the upper Bollinger Band. Sideways trading in the currencies. The dollar index jumped above 100, so 101 is going to be our next level, and I'm bringing up the level of support to the 20-day moving average. Let's see if today it will retreat most of yesterday's move, or will it catch a bid and move higher? That's it for me today. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you on Monday.